What up, family? Coach Khayr is in the building, and today we're getting a serious multitask on. I sincerely appreciate you for joining in today. Yesterday, a friend of mine was like, "Yo, I'm doing a radio interview, and I'm looking for someone who is not who grew up Christian, but you left the Christian religion." And I was like, "Oh, that's me. I've done that." They was like, "Would you be interested in doing a radio interview?" And I was like, "Yeah." And so it's supposed to be today in a few minutes. And so I'm waiting on the producer of the show to call me. So I was like, I'm going to put the call on speakerphone, on my speaker, so you'll be able to hear their question and my response, or like the dialogue that we're going to have. It's going to be about an hour. And, I think it's going to be crazy fun. So let's get prayer in first before they call, and then let's see what happens after that. And if they don't, I'll just take questions about, me leaving Christianity and my spiritual path off the gate. And I think that's where they're going with this, kind of, but we'll see. Abdul Kul Tafilatat, Wabazun, Gamafaragun, Shalel Kalum. I am in the love of all, and all love is in me. I am a part of all, and all is a part of me. I am one with all, and all is one with me. I can succeed as a part of all and fail as an individual. I can be all that I wish in all, as long as my wish is to stay in all. I am never alone. All is, I am. All can, I can. All does, I do. It's done. Yes, how can I help you?
Khayr?
Yes?
Honey.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly.
All right.
And my producer, Scott, is here with us as well.
How you doing, Scott?
How are you doing?
Doing well. Thank you for this opportunity. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Okay, so Scott, we go on at 11?
Yep, 1 minute.
Okay, great. So, Khayr, we're going to go on, and then I'm going to just say, I'm going to talk a little bit about, what this show is about, like the theme that we've been doing, and then I'll say I'm going to bring my guest in, Khayr, and then I'm going to ask you to tell people about yourself, we can do it that way. That feels better to me.
Okay. Is there like a website I could give people on my Facebook so they could like listen into?
Yeah, 12radio.com.
12radio.com. Okay, no problem.
Yes. So 12radio.com. It's going on right now, and that's it. We're good. We're gonna basically just have fun.
I know I am. Absolutely.
Me too.
Is the show gonna be recorded so I can get it later?
Yes, it will be recorded so you can get it later.
Yay! All right. 12 radio.
Yep.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay.
Okay. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go.
Hello, everyone. This is Monique, and I'm so excited to be here with everyone today at a special time at 11 a.m. on Friday on our segment called Losing My Religion, right? It's so fascinating. I posted on my Facebook page a couple of days ago to ask if there were any people who could talk with me on this show today about losing their religion, and I had almost 100 comments, and I thought, my goodness, Christianity is going out of business. So there's a new trend happening for sure. So today I have a guest with me because I wanted to make this show fun and exciting, and I needed some perspective. Yes, I am fun and exciting by myself, but I needed a perspective of somebody who could really bring some fire and some thunder around this experience of losing our religion and my theme, which is giving up hell. Right? Who doesn't want to give up hell? At least I did. So my co-host will be Khayr Carter. Khayr, how are you doing today?
Oh, I am delightful. I'm blessed by the best and too sexy to be stressed and worth my weight in diamonds and gold, just like yourself and everybody listening today.
I love that. You're already fun. So, we at 12, we have a number of radio hosts here, and we all decided to get together to talk about what it means when we lose our religions. when we lose religion, the religion that our family gave to us. And I think it's a trend happening right now. I was just saying how I had almost 100 people post on my Facebook page that they would love to come here and talk, but I wanted you to come because I know you have a really interesting story. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh man, boy, losing my religion, what a topic. I came up in the church, and when I say came up in the church, I'm talking about often. So my story is real interesting because my father, wait a minute, I have to go all the way back to what I just found out like 3 years ago. My great-grandfather, Edward Carter, founded Locks Creek AME Zion Church after he built a school/church on his own land. So in Cumberland County, North Carolina, he cut down trees. He paid a guy to cut the trees down and construct a school/church called the Carter School in the late 1800s, like 1870, something like that. And he hired a teacher, and he preached there on Sundays. And then the community came around, and the AME Zion Church, African Methodist Episcopal, or whatever that stands for, came around and was like, we want to build, a more centralized church. And actually the church was about 2 or 3 miles from where he built his church at. And if you go to Locks Creek AME Zion Church now, which is super thriving, beautiful, down in Fayetteville, North Carolina, in the foyer, they have like the church founders, and they have my great-grandfather, Edward Carter, right there in the middle, and his wife, my great-grandmother's name was Patience. And I didn't even know this. I didn't even know this until like 2 or 3 years ago, right? I'm a historian. I have a degree in professional history. I love researching. I love my ancestors. And I was like, yo, my great-grandfather was a pastor and like a multi-millionaire. I was like, that's cool as hell. And so, but coming up, my mother and father were divided over religion. She went to C and Adam Street Church of God, and my daddy went to Locks Creek AME Zion, and then my uncle went to Shiloh United Church of Christ. So I had like 3 churches that I was going to all the time growing up. So I know about the whole spectrum: Sunday school, children's church. I know about falling asleep. I know about shouting. I didn't really like the choir because I didn't like my voice. But yeah, I have an extensive background on that. And then, I started waking up maybe around 19 or something like that. Once I got to college, I went to North Carolina A&T State University and started, ran into some nationalists and some Muslims and some other people thinking other ways. And I was like, what? It's something else? Yeah. Right. And then they was like, Jesus ain't down no cross. And I was like, blasphemy, you going to hell. They was like, listen, Linda.
Kyer, I used to pray for everybody who wasn't a Christian. I would pray. I would be convicted in my heart, like, oh my God, they're gonna go to hell. It terrified me to think that people that I loved were actually gonna go to hell, and just what that does inside of your psyche is amazing. Wouldn't you say?
Man, listen. I gotta tell you this story about when I was, I think, 7 years old. I think this is where the change started for me. I asked my mother, I either said, who is God or where does God come from? Now, I remember this specifically because I don't think we were already staying in North Carolina. We was in the trailer. So I had to be no more than 8 years old. And I said, where did God come from? And I was in their bedroom, and my father just turned his back. Like, he was like, oh, you always want to be hollering Jesus all the time? You go ahead and answer the boy's question. And so my mama said, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. And she just stopped. And I said, and she looked at me like very stern, as if to like clean your room up. Like, you're supposed to accept this. And I was confused as hell. And I was like, in my mind, at 8 years old, I said, she doesn't know what she's talking about. But I didn't say it out loud. And I think that stuck with me, that she gave me a verse that confused me even more. And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't say that to her. I just kept on. I think what a lot of people do is they play act. You know what I'm saying? They operate out of fear, and they play act to pacify their parents. And for me, that was a part of my journey. You know, now I'm not going to say that sometimes I didn't get in church and I didn't get the feeling, or I didn't feel good, but, you know, later on I realized that, you know, that was the energy that was flowing through there. I also, when you scrape your feet on carpet, you create static electricity. If you run into somebody, that's not the Holy Spirit. That's just, you just shock somebody, you know.
It's science. It's science.
It's just science, player. It's just science. It's all good, you know. And so that was but I've seen like a lot of people, you know, in my journey in consciousness and spirituality say that they're conscious, but they still hold on to a lot of Christian dogma. I think the dogma is really what's worse than the actual quote unquote word of God. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because when I found out that the Bible was a Masonic astrology book, I was like, ooh, wait a minute.
Okay. Wait a minute.
I'm sorry.
That is a really big thing that you're talking about. I want you to talk about it. So what do you mean when you say the Bible is a Masonic astrology book? Give us the history.
That's a marvelous.
And we only have an hour. We're going to be here until about 11:55.
We're not going. I'm gonna get into this and let you get on to the next question. It's not complicated.
Okay.
That's one of my specialties, is bringing it down from high level to eye level. So this is not something like brand new. I think I've taught this class a couple hundred times. So you have esoteric and you have exoteric. So exoteric is like the hidden meaning that people who practice a particular craft study themselves, and they're speaking a particular language, and they have an entirely different meaning and definition for the code switching words that are going on. But exoterically, to the audience who's listening, you are thinking that they're talking very mundane and very simplified to yourself.
Literally.
Yeah. You think they're talking very literally, but they're talking in lessons, because the human mind, for a long time, digests stories and lessons easier through stories. And so the Masons, wonderful group of guys. You know what I'm saying? I'm not demeaning them. I went through a whole Illuminati.
Absolutely.
I went through a whole Illuminati conspiracy theory thing. I'm retired. I'm one of the high level retired conspiracy theorists. Okay.
Absolutely.
The Masons were like, yo, this science is for those who are serious, and it's a very spiritual science, right? And we want to make sure that people are serious. So they had initiations, just like the Egyptian mystical systems and all of the mystery schools of ancient day from different cultures around the world, right? But it's based upon astrology, and they leave clues in there. Like Psalms 19:1 tells you that the heavens show God's greatness. What do you mean? What's in the what's in the firmaments? What's in the heavens? Astrology, the stars, the planets,
right.
You know what I'm saying? All these bodies of work show God's greatness. And all of them proceed the church. They proceed religion. They are the first science. So when, but the astrological piece is when Jesus comes in and the 12 signs of the zodiac. So if you draw a cross, you just draw one horizontal line and one vertical line, there's your cross. And then if you make 12 houses around it, those are your 12 disciples, and Jesus was in the middle. He always is surrounded by the 12, right? And so he's in the center of this whole aspect of things, and then they're playing it out like they are people, because at the time they didn't really, they weren't really able to. There were a lot of illiterate people when these lessons were coming up, and so they made it so people could understand in a story form, just like Santa Claus. Santa Claus is from the planet Saturn. You know, the planet Saturn and Satan and Santa all have the same letters. They all represent the same thing. They all represent discipline and rewards. That's it. So when we get to the Freemasonic Zodiac, I was less angry and came back and started studying it from a different angle. Now, when I originally lost my religion, Monique, I was pissed all the way off to the highest of pistivity. I was really angry about a whole lot of things, and I was riding on some Christians' hard body. I was like through the streets of Compton with my gun of truth hanging out the window, just riding by churches, just lighting them up. But I realized as I got older, well, one thing, like you said, they are going out of business. There was an article recently about the closing of churches, like the number of churches that are closing across the United States. They are losing like their grasp, and they're also not keeping up with technology because a lot of these big mega churches are going digital. But but for me, I totally lost the whole religious dogmatic principle of it, and then went back in for the for the esoteric part of it. And I'm not as pissed off as more. I know how to utilize it, a whole lot different. And I've made, I'm not in hell. My draw's not on fire. You know what I'm saying? My business is still doing good. And
let's talk about hell, though. Where did the concept of hell come from? Can you share anything about that? Why we were given this concept about hell? What's the esoteric meaning of it? And just how do we work that out inside of ourselves?
I'm gonna start with the internet and work backwards. So on the internet,
okay.
Let's say you looked at a weight loss program, right, on the internet, and they scared you into buying it because they scared you into being happy with yourself, being big and fat. So you got scared into getting the weight loss program. So, and the person who wrote the ad is called a copywriter. So when you back it up to Dante, like in the, 1500, 1600, there's a guy named Dante who was a struggling writer, and nobody was buying his work. And he was broke, and he was beside a trash heap that they burned everything. They burned people, they burned trash, and they were, the sanitation was terrible in the 1600s or the whatever, 1500s. And Dante wrote a story about what he thought hell would look like according to this trash dump outside of his apartment or his house or wherever he was staying at. And the church picked it up, put some money in Dante's pocket, told him to rewrite it, and that was it. I forgot the name of the book. You can go get it now. It's not Dantes Inferno.
Dantes Inferno.
It might be
Dantes Inferno.
It might be Dantes Inferno, but that's where the basic principle of this hellacious place is, that you will go if you don't serve the boogeyman. Like, if you don't serve one boogeyman, you're going to go to the place where the other boogeyman is at. And it was a concept that the church, a very racist and very divided group themselves, wanted to use to mentally conquer and colonize the world. See, people didn't colonize the world. It was the sinisters behind the early church that created hell to colonize the world through their minds. They were colonizing the minds of us with spookism, with all kind of catchisms and all type of stuff, and they was getting paid so much big money. They was like, man, we can't never tell them the truth. We can't. Hey, this is a cash cow. And they just kept running it and running it and running it, and then they started putting armies behind it. People started going to war over it. All of these fictitious anomalies, you know what I'm saying? About,
amazing.
When you die, if you didn't give your life to Jesus Christ, the Lord and Savior, then, well, wait a minute. So you're telling me that hell is mostly populated with all non-Christians, which are Muslims, Hindus. Man, get the freak out of here. What the freak you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Then, and it's so easy to escape is I can just shoot up the whole church, go to court, get sentenced, and right before I get the electric chair, I can say, Lord, forgive me, and I get to go to heaven. Man, come on, man. Stop playing. Stop playing.
I'm sorry. Forgive me for laughing. But I'm laughing because it is that is what I was taught as a child, and that is what I believed. I believed that you could do the most heinous crimes and things to people, but if at the very last moment you said, I accept Jesus as my Lord and Savior, everything you did on this will be completely wiped away.
Ain't that crazy? Come on, wait, hold on, Monique. Let's just pause the interview. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Come on, is that crazy? It's really crazy. And you know what? What I thought of, and I'm glad, I look at it as a mental illness. That if you think that that's how life works, then you got some screws loose up top. You know what I'm saying? But they really gave it to people as a need to believe things. People really wanted to believe things, and they didn't think. And these small group of people, and it goes back to 325 AD, where they had a Bible that told you all the real story, but then they took out many of those original books, the Gospel of Barnabas, Aquarian Gospel of Jesus the Christ, so on and so forth. Like, where's the book Jesus wrote? You got 60 books in here, and none of them is saying the book of Jesus. Is you for real? Where's Big JC? He was nice with it. He did all this healing. He could turn water into wine and break bread, but you ain't had time to write. Was he illiterate? You know, that's some of the questions that I ask that my common sense doesn't allow me to stay in the dogmatic side anymore. So, like, right now...
Do you know, I'm sorry, one second. I have never in my life had that thought before, that Jesus didn't write anything.
Where you at, player? Where you at? Where you at, player?
I totally missed that one. You're right that he could be so astute and never put pen to paper.
Drop some bars. As we say in the rap game now, drop some bars. Just drop a hot 16 or something. Like, that would be cool right there if we could get, like, a rapper to be like, this is my Jesus 16. You know, this is my Jesus 16 right here.
That is amazing. So let's talk a little bit about how Christianity, the part that Christianity played in slavery and in the enslavement of people. Just your perspective on it. I actually, I've studied it before myself a little bit, but I'd love to hear your perspective on it.
Well, I'm gonna tell it. That's me. The truth shall make you free. So I like to thank you for the opportunity to collect some dots. So in slavery, once again, esoteric and exoteric. There was this thing called the 3/5 compromise. And so the 3/5 compromise was like, we're going to only count every slave as 3/5 of a human being. So we can then see how many people we need to have in the legislature to vote and route the money, so on and so forth. So we looked at 3/5 compromise and got angry and said, oh, I'm only 3/5 of a person. But that's the exoteric. The esoteric is you have 5 senses, right, Monique?
Yeah.
And they said if we can control 2 of those senses, you would be 3/5 of a person. Because now I control 2 things that are very valuable. What you see and what you hear. So now we can go back to Nat Turner, Denmark Vesey. You can go back to any kind of slave revolt. And the reason why they made these laws, you can't talk to one another without Mr. White slave master being present. That's listening. They're controlling the hearing now. And you only can put up a picture of something that looks like your slave master. So now Jesus Christ, you're going to learn to love him and those who look like him. And that was the strategy during slavery. We're going to show you something that's we got one image, one marketing campaign that inflicts and controls your seeing and your hearing. So what you touch and what you taste, we don't care about those other 3 senses. We ain't worried about that. See, hear, touch, taste. Yeah, and what you smell, we don't care about what you smell, what you taste, and what you touch. This as long as we control what you see and what you hear. And so they gave us all this imagery of white God on the top of the ceiling, touching the white man with the white angels and all of that. And it was used to keep people's mental. It was like, yo, if I just see, let's go to Richard Pryor. Why was Richard Pryor such a great comedian about sex? He grew up in a whorehouse. So if you grow up in a place that just overwhelms your senses and says, hey, this is what it is over and over and over again, when you go out in the world, like Richard Pryor, you'll think that everything is pimping and hoeing. But if you come out and you see everything is white Jesus, when I am disobedient, this person who looks like Jesus, my Lord and Christ Savior, can punish me by all rights due to I'm outside of what a good Christian should do. And then they said, ooh, look at your skin. Look at your skin and see, since you can't read in English and we won't show it to you in Hebrew, I control what you see again, then I'm going to make sure that you never know that the original Hamites were black, that Moses was black. You see what I'm saying? That Thutmose was black. That when Jesus went to high school, he went to ancient Egypt, which was like the land of Nubia, which was black. That the word amen came from Amen-Ra of ancient Egypt. You see what I'm saying? So they just psychologically and very shrewdly, it's all a marketing plan. It's all a big, successful marketing plan. So, like, I'm not fronting on them, but I definitely know, you know, what they did. And so now I look at that and say, brilliant. It was brutal. It was brutal. But it was brilliant.
It was brilliant. That's right. I totally, like, one of the things that I like to say is that my experience as a black person, I believe that I have lived many lives as a black person, as a white person, as a man, I'm just in this body this time. That's my belief system. And what it has, the system that has been taught to us to condition our minds, all of us, not just black people, but all of us, to believe that we are not connected to the divine, that we need someone else outside of us to connect us to the divine. And if we do not, this concept of hell, the thing used to scare us, has worked for centuries.
And has turned into what we now jokingly call white privilege. Where did white privilege come from? Like you said, it has affected everyone, even white people who may not, believe in Christianity like that, real hard body.
Right.
They still experience white privilege because of what the story did in setting up the mindsets of everyone. I'm proud because Jesus looked like me, and I'm sad because I come from slavery. So, and now since I have this platform, I must make this big blanket statement that there's more history than 400 years, everyone. So whoever's listening to this, please take a note that there's history that predates slavery. And that's the other part of the Bible is they try to just make it seem like there was Jesus, he died, and now there's slavery. And they're skipping like of millions and millions of incidences of greatness from other cultures. You know what I'm saying? But there's evidence of them using the Bible to colonize Africa. They colonized the mind first and then colonized Africa. Except for when you watch Shaka Zulu. Shaka Zulu was not playing that. Shaka Zulu was like, you tell your God to get down here and let's get to hunting and we'll scrap it out here barefoot. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they kept using the whole psychological piece. So I really am not one to stay in the period of history, because as a person who has a degree in professional history from an HBCU, I see that the concept of the Bible has even affected the roots of why a HBCU came along. Like, why would I even need to keep calling it an HBCU now? Like, I'm some kind of degraded person. Like, why can't mine just be a public university like UNC Charlotte or Chapel Hill or Duke or whatever? Why must I still be labeled like that So I can be second tier, or I can identify to Google. You went to Howard. Did you know that Google is going to Howard now to call themselves diversifying so they can hire more black coders? Oh, diversification is the new word for token. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So I definitely see that, how that's playing into the slavery thing. But please, everyone, slavery didn't last that long in the whole concept of the whole world. It did not last that long. And if you go back, you'll find something else to identify besides slavery. Because what you keep talking about, which is the more proof of the genius of Christianity. If I keep talking about just white Jesus and dying on the cross, I will forget all the other facts. I will make these the new facts. And as a matter of fact, I will, now I'm getting into metaphysics, I will actually create a entity of a white Jesus somewhere that has power that can heal. So like originally, there was no white Jesus that could heal. But now, because billions of people have believed in white Jesus over the last 300 or 400 years and have put thought to it, there may be an entity called white Jesus that does have the power to heal. Now, he can't keep you out of the karma you got to face if you live the scandalous life. You know, if you a savage, that formula at the end don't work no more. You can't just be like, oh, forgive me, Father Jesus Christ. And Jesus is going to be like, look, I'm just brand new to this game, player. I'm sorry. I can't keep you from what's getting ready to happen to you. You're going to have to pay that tab, player.
Right. So a little bit about, because there's so much information you have. And I want to talk about your current, what's your current explanation or belief system around hell? Like, because I've heard you talk about the wall of suffering. So let's get into this, how hell is a made-up idea inside of us that we create, and then how we're creating it today.
Woohoo! Lord have mercy. Here we go. This planet, in the scheme of things, was created to make us stronger as spiritual beings. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. Before we got here, we didn't have any choices. But when we got here, we had the option to almost be like gods. But you can slip and fall if you don't stay on your deen. And so the Creator put something here to test us called the wall of suffering. It has some pleasure principles around it, but it also has a lot of death, destruction, and disease and decay. And it's built in with the planet. Just like hell is built in with the planet. But not the fiery Dantes Inferno type hell, but a hell that you actually live in while you are currently on planet Earth living and breathing oxygen. So
so what is that hell currently? What is, I want our listeners to understand what a current hell would be like.
A current hell is of your choosing. To say, I choose to die before 100 years of age. I choose to not be the greatest for me. A current hell would be my debt is more important than my prosperity. A current hell is my morality and what other people think of me is more important than being close to God and meditating and going within to find the answers. Those are hell-like situations. Or to even believe and make a visual mental construct that I'll be punished by some unseen hand. It's carrot and stick type thing. Like, here's the carrot I never reach, and here's the stick that never attaches me. So that's the current hell likes, and it's all unproven. There's people who've seen the light. There's people who have seen the light and saying, hey, there's a light. And I came and I saw it, and I came back, I heard voices, I've seen tombstones, blah, blah, blah. But we haven't seen the fiery part of burning. Now, there have been some...
Oh, yes. Okay, wait a minute. So you're right. I have never heard anyone come back and say, I touched hell.
Nope, not one. Now, There is a movie called and it's a subcaption movie. Oh my God, the name will come to me in a second. I think it's Celestial City or something like that. Somebody probably on my Facebook will tell me what the name of it is. But the closest thing to real life is the purgatory. If you were to really want to know like what can happen afterwards, think about, they say, well, purgatory is the place in between, like after you die. But purgatory could be really nice and purgatory could be really ugly. It could be really ugly because you got to do some Astral City. That's the name of it. ASTRAL City. You can't find it anywhere. You can go to Amazon and order the DVD. I wish it was like live somewhere, but it's called Astral City. And it is probably the closest depiction of what actually happens, because we never talk about what happens after you die, because your soul and spirit can never be destroyed. Your physical body can go in and start decaying, but what about you, the real essence of you? Because my real name is not Kyer. Your real name is not Monique. Scott's real name is not Scott. That's something that he picked up here as an identity with this physical body. But there's well over 100,000 documentations of people changing into bodies of light and just dropping their body and going out into being a rainbow and turning themselves into light. But the church does very well not to discuss that. But after you die, they also don't want to discuss that hell is not forever. You can go to a place that's really gnashing of teeth, that's really suffering, that you really need money to survive in. Wait a minute, I need money in hell? You need money in hell and heaven. You still going to have, because if you have a debt here, it follows you as detritus. That same debt that you picked up is going to follow you, and you're going to have to, as I call it, pay that tab. And if you're going to have to do that time, and according to what the infractions were. So like now we can go back to the 10 Commandments, or you can go back to the 614 confessions of Ma'at, or negative confessions, or 613 negative confessions, which adds up to 10. 6 plus 1 plus 3 adds up to 10, or the 42 laws of Ma'at. When you look at all of these things, each of these carry a certain weight. Just like an advancement in a job, certain things carry certain amounts of weight. There's certain infractions that you can do against your own soul that also that carry certain weight. And I want to share this today. The worst infraction of them all is lying. The worst infraction is lying. That's the worst one. That's worse than the murders. That's worse than the child abuse. It's worse than adultery. The worst one is lying, because it's the root of all of the quote-unquote sins. And for those watching, the word sin comes from a Greek word meaning hamatia. So hamatia means to miss the mark. And the archers would shoot at the mark with a bow and arrow, and when they would miss, then it was somebody standing beside or down on that end where the bullseye was at, and he would yell, Hamatia! And then your fellow archers would make fun of you. They'd be like, Hamatia, ha, 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 ha. And to sin meant to miss the mark. You can't even hit the mark that you're aiming for. And so the Christians, when they translated the Bible, said, every man is born into sin. So they really, what they're saying is, now I'm giving you the Masonic interpretation of being born into sin. You were born missing the mark. And it's mostly because of your parents. Your lack of education and the poor programming of your parents causes you to you come in missing the mark because your parents aren't even on the mark. Well, not until today. Now you're getting parents who believe in astrology, who study, who do tarot cards and stuff like that. These children that are being born these last 5-10 years, and their parents, like your child, is not born into sin. Your child has what I call an advantage. Your child is super, on the path already. So he's going to hit the bullseye, and because you're not with that programming because what? You lost your religion. The best thing you can do for your children is to lose your religion, start getting into yourself, studying these metaphysical sciences, and pass that down as a means for problem solving. And that's how we hit the mark. I don't know what the Greek word for bullseye is, but I'm going to just say bullseye. You know what I'm saying? But the other BS is hamartia and sinning. So to be born into sin means to miss the mark. So now people can stop. Or here's my thing about why I was glad I lost my religion too. I know I'm on a tangent. It's because Christians are so dang aggressive. Monique, why is a Christian so dang aggressive?
Oh my God. Christians are, let me just say this. I have friends who are Christians, but this idea that they have the only way, that's how I'd experience it as Christian. I will say, like I said, I grew up really, really, really religious, and I remember when I started questioning, I was probably like around your age, 19 or 20, and I had a friend whose father was a minister, and ironically, I was up one morning like in emotional agony because I was so afraid to leave the church, and I was thinking, I'm surely going to die, and my phone rang, and it was my friend's father. He had never called me before. It was almost as if he felt my soul about to break free.
Where you going, Monique? Monique, where you going? Girl, where you going, girl?
That's right. And he called me, and I asked him, because, he was my friend's father, and I asked him, what does it mean when it says many are called, like, few are chosen, many are called, but few are chosen? Do you know the meaning of that, Kair?
Yes.
Well, share with me, and put your mouth closer to the phone. I feel like I can't hear you as much.
They are, many are called, many are called, few are chosen, is for everybody in the world. It's not just dynamic just for a Christian. It's everybody. Even on the spiritual path, many are called and few are chosen. It's just that they got to the catchphrase first and they built it out. Just like, let's look at Ford. Ford says, built Ford tough. Well, Chevrolet is tough too, and Mercedes is tough too, but they just can't use it because Ford got to it first. But all cars are normally built tough. You could just put your name, built Monique tough, built Kair tough, built Christian tough, built Buddhist tough, built, you could put any word in there saying I'm built tough. But it's the discipline that it takes to be successful in any spiritual path. Because Christianity done correctly is a very high-level Templar system of spirituality. The Gnostics were very disciplined in their spirituality. And they meant, the good guys who originally had it were saying, check this out. Many are called, but some of y'all just not built like that. And this is the same thing when I always go back to someone's astrology chart. I don't believe in cheating or fornication because the location of a person's Venus is going to tell how they get down. So everybody's Venus is not in the same position. So don't come here talking about, oh, he's a cheater. No, your Venus may be in an earth sign and their Venus may be in a air or fire sign. And that's just not how they operate. And they feel very fine. But it was them using that, many are called, few are chosen, to manipulate you and make you feel sad and make you feel like you did bad. And so it was a browbeating thing. That's all that was a browbeating. But it's still the facts for any discipline. So if somebody wants to be a Rosicrucian, guess what? Many are called, few are chosen, because you choose yourself. I have, back in my day when I used to battle, I have whooped many a Christian's ass spiritually with their own Bible. I've been in so many debates and had Christians leave their Bible with me because they were so dazed. I mean, like on the sidewalk, I done got Bibles and they leave, and I be like, wait a minute, they done forgot their Bible. What's happening? Because I be flipping through, going through, just hitting them upside their head. But guess what? Since they chose themselves, they didn't care that I was throwing facts at them. They didn't care how silly they looked. And in that aspect, that one aspect, I admire the constance of the Christian, even how crazy he may be. I wish some of my spiritual brothers and sisters would be that animate about meditating, about their rituals, about their magic, about studying astrology, about learning the tarot. Like, are you disciplined? Are you choosing yourself on this path? And I think that was really the big one, for me, how I interpret that.
That is very powerful because, if we're not taught the real meanings of these things, because that was something that many are called, but few are chosen. It captivated me in such a way that I was wrestling with the divine. I was like, what does it mean? Because I've always been this kind of person that felt like I don't want to do it by myself. I just love to have company. So I didn't want to sort of stand out. But I know that was an immature sort of way of being now. I get that. But my friend's father called me that morning, and I started going to another church the next day or so. And I remember being at this other church. It was Agape. And the minister said, you are the thing you are waiting for. You are your own savior. And I cried for about 2 weeks, Kair, because I thought, if I am the thing that I'm waiting for, and if I am my own savior, I'm absolutely doomed. And I was about 29 at the time.
Saturn return.
That's right. I love that you got that. It was my Saturn's return, yes.
Time to grow up. And see,
time to grow up.
And see what they got you on. You're saying it, but you're just skipping around it. They got you, and their main marketing strategy is to make you feel like you're missing something, or you're left out, or you're not part of the in crowd. And everybody wants to feel accepted. Even the maverick, even the rebel wants to be accepted. The person is being a rebel so they can be accepted as a rebel and fellow rebels. You see what I'm saying? But Christianity just plays it wide. Monique, many are called, few are chosen. And then they let you finish the sentence. This is an incomplete sentence. So if you don't get with us, you ain't crap. You ain't with us. Who's your team? What team is going to protect you? We'll pray for you. Listen, man, the religion, not the spiritual essence, I want to be clear, the religion of Christianity is no more than gangs, Crips, Bloods, Vice Lords, MF-13, whatever. It's just a gang.
Mafia.
Oh, definitely. No. I wouldn't even give them that high. No. I wouldn't even give them mafia. Mafia has some integrity. They'll kill you. They'll kill you like the mafia, but they'll kill you like a gang member too. The mafia ain't gonna go through and do all that. The mafia is not going to go through and do all those things that gangs will do. They're much more sophisticated. So the religion of it is nah. So I suggest that people nowadays start finding, as Donald Trump. And this is why you got to know how to look at things differently. Donald Trump is helping spiritual people by using the word alternative facts. So you Christians are giving me your story and telling me it can't go any way but this. Well, how about this, bruh? Because the first thing the Christian does to you is he tries to shut you down and not let you present your story. So what you tell him is say, look, man, we up on the new regime, and I got some alternative facts for you. How about that? So that's everybody listening to 12radio.com right now. Go tell your Christian friend when they try to jump on you, say, hey, bro, I got some alternative facts. I got them from Coach Cairo. I got them from Tybro.com, Tybro. I went over there. I went to Tybro Free Information. I went to, Coach K Astrology. I went on some other place, whatever. I went to Monique,
right,
and I got a reading, and she told me that, I've got a Venus and Moon conjunction in Cancer, and I got an alternative fact for you. Now, what's up? You see what I'm saying? And the first thing, if any of you get into another debate, the first thing you say is, are you going to let me talk? Don't sit there and let them one-side you. If they're not going to let you talk, then don't get into it. And for me, right now I'm just too big for it anyway. And even if you don't know nothing and you just leaving the church, I have a lot of clients right now. Like one of them just sent me a message and she was like, somebody in the church told me that my daughter was cursed because I'm not married. Someone told another client of mine that they can't pray for her. She's under psychic attack, and like 2-3 times a week, she's being raped and tormented in her sleep. And so she said that the church said, we will not pray for you because you left us. So since you left the church and you don't believe and you're not in with Jesus no more, we can't do anything. We're just going to leave you out there by yourself. And this woman is like being tormented. But what it actually shows is the church never equipped her with power. And that's the secret behind astrology. The church was who made astrology 12 signs. You mean with all these star constellations up in the heavens, there's only 12 signs? Man, get out of here. You're not going to recognize the 13 signs either? Oh, you're not going to recognize the Vedic? You're not going to... Man, listen, cut that out. Yes, I came up tropically trained, but I accept 13. I accept the Vedic. I accept the Chinese. I also accept that there's a billion stars up there in configurative forms that are giving us energy simultaneously every day, every second of our lives that need to be acknowledged. And so I can get power from all of them. So let's just pretend the church, there's a star constellation or a zodiac sign called church. You know what I'm saying? Church sign. And they're like, if you're not born under church sign, then all the other signs are weak. Man, quit playing. I know some tough Capricorns. I know some tough Pisces. I know some mean Aries who got game, who got charisma. I love my Libras. Big shouts out to my Libras around in the building. You know what I'm saying? And all my Virgos, Scorpios. I love I got Neptune and Scorpio too, so I love them in a special way. You know what I'm saying? So, and big shouts out to Team Gemini right now.
I have Neptune and Scorpio also. Well, you and I are about the same age. So here we only have about 10 more minutes at the most. We might have only 5. Please talk to me about worshiping the real Son of God, the real one.
So let's just change the spelling from S-O-N to S-U-N. Start off and change the spelling, and let's get the grammatical trickery out of the way. So if you hold your hand up, the back of your hand, and you exhale out the mouth, and breathe on the back of your hand through your mouth. This is a short burst of breath. You'll feel that it's warm air. And so, and then if you look up the word on Google, solar plexus, sol, S-O-L, is the root word of sun. So you have a lit sun. If you can hear my voice, if you are on the internet, you have a solar plexus in your body identified by science that keeps a heat generator that you have your own personal S-U-N. So the Son of God is you. And the Son of God is you because you are breathing hot air on... Come on, haven't you had somebody who had some garlic and some onions and you was like, keep that hot breath off of me? You know what I'm saying? Or somebody breathed and their teeth was... or their breath was nice and fresh. And they breathe that warm air on your neck, on your ear. That's another show, but you get turned on when you feel that hot air. Where's that hot air coming from? The Son of God. You are the Son of God. Look in the mirror and say, I'm the Son of God. The S-U-N. It doesn't have anything to do with sex at all. And that one revelation will bring you out of the patriarchal system or the matriarchal system that in my chest, I have a lit sun that if it ever goes out, I'm out of here. And I need to align my sun with my Father's Son who created the big sun. Back to Psalms 19:1. If God created the sun in the sky, then he created me. Then I go back to Genesis 1:26 and he said, I breathe I breathed the breath of life into man and he became a living soul. Then I'm the Christ that I'm supposed to be looking for. And it was easy for us to figure out, but they tried with 300 to 400, now down near 1,000 years of electronic slavery and mental slavery to keep us from figuring that out amongst ourselves and having platforms like 12radio.com that they can get this message out to people so that people can think for themselves and get back to a divine connection with God, the Creator themselves. And then we can start manifesting. Poverty will go away. Sickness will go away. And then guess what? This is what the church is really afraid of. We'll start to really have everlasting life, which is translated into we will start breaking into the realms of being immortals. Look, in the Bible, they had stories of people living to be 600 and 800 years old. Methuselah was 800 years old or better. So
now, why do we tell those stories like they're not real, though? We tell them like they're fairy tales.
We tell them that because of our programming. Because the people who told us the story didn't believe it, and because of our lack of discipline to go into these esoteric societies. You should join the Rosicrucians. You should join Astara, ASTARA.org. You should join soul.org, SOUL.org. You should find an esoteric order and just dive in. It's not going to hurt you. You ain't going nowhere, and it's much cheaper than what the church is charging. The church is charging some high-end prices, and they're giving you McDonald's Happy Meals. For much less price, you could be eating filet mignon and freeing yourself. So there are many societies, and to be honest, Monique, people are lazy. I cannot finish this show justice without talking to some of the quote unquote conscious people. Some conscious people.
Okay, so here we only have a couple of minutes. I think we probably have like 2 or 3 minutes. So I want you to say what you're saying, and then I want you to tell people where to find you, and then we're going to say we love everybody, and we're going to let them go. Okay, so finish your statement and then tell people where to find you.
A lot of conscious people were raised in church, and when they left, they kept the habits of Christianity, which was the aggression. You have the aggressive conscious person, and you have the aggressive vegetarian. You never ran into an aggressive meat eater. You see what I'm saying? So you can see those people still are carrying some of their Christian habits with them. Okay, let the whole thing go. I'm Coach Khayr. I was born May 17th. I'm still accepting presents. You know what I'm saying? It was only last week. I know it's in the Team Gemini, but I'm still accepting presents. You can find me at CoachKAstrology.info. You can find me at CoachKLive.com. And you can find me at selfmasterytantra.com. selfmasterytantra.com, or you can just Google Coach Khayr, Khayr. I have websites all over the place. Also, if you're in Atlanta, I do business and marketing classes mixed with spirituality. Monique, I didn't even get to tell you this, but the new hashtag is spiritual tech. So if everybody's listening to this, can you go on your social media right now and type hashtag spiritual tech or conscious tech? Because that technology, we get afraid of the word technology like we were afraid of the word consciousness or esoteric or things like that. Like, it's okay. And I'm also launching a company called Advantage, which is for young CEOs of startup companies to use astrology and statistical analytics to help them make everyday decisions in their business. That company will be launching, in a couple of months. It's we're just working to make sure it's like perfect when it comes out. It's going to tell you about like what days to do what and things like that. But if anybody wants to get a personal consultation with me, they can just go and send me a message through Coach K Live or Coach K Astrology and just fill out the form, CoachKAstrology.info. Yes, thank you for letting me be on your show. You are wonderful, and we love everybody, including white Jesus and black Jesus and brown Jesus and yellow Jesus too.
Yes, we do, and I love you, Khayr. You are so much fun. You are funny, and you have so much wisdom and information. So thank you for being here today, and thank you everyone for listening. You guys have been great. Well, I'll be here on Wednesday morning. Thank you, Scott, for your help. I really appreciate your producing, and we'll have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.
Yay!
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Scott. And Khayr, I'll call you.
All right, peace.
All right, bye-bye.
What up, family? How was that? Some of y'all stayed on for the whole hour. Some of y'all came on like near the end. On a scale of 1 to 10, let me know how that show was. If it sucked, make sure you put down 1. If it was popping, make sure you do, whatever your number is. And tell me one thing that you took from that that I shared with you all on the radio and all that. Tell me one thing that really stood out to you that you can use and that can help you in your life right now lose your religion or get your head together or whatever. What is something that that you brought or that you got today out of that share? That's Monique calling right now like she said she was going to do. But she got to wait because I got to finish up with y'all, but I got to take that call too. Hold on. Let me tell her, hold on. So, yes, what came out that helped you in your own expanding your consciousness? I just like to get my feedback from my folks. Also, thanks everybody who shared it. If you have not shared it yet, we got 17 people on the line. I need at least 17 shares. Yes. Leslie said, I am the sun. Right. Just change the spelling of S-O-N to S-U-N, and you'll get it. You'll get it like easily, 1,000%. Yeah, Hamatiyah, that's where the word sin comes from, means to miss the mark. Dantes Inferno was hell. Yeah. She sent me a message and said, I am fun as a guest, so much energy and fantastic facts. Yeah. We tell stories from Bible that we really don't believe. Right, or do. That's exactly right. We don't. So I think this was really good for me. I love teaching and sharing. Apostle Bass. Ooh, get him. Get him, Apostle Bass. Son of God, absolutely. Y'all can call me Apostle. Now just keep calling me Coach Khayr. I'm good. Many are called, few are chosen is for everybody when you do the spiritual work. Right. Are you going to be disciplined? Are you going to actually do what you're supposed to be doing? I'm cool with, we are our own savior. Absolutely. Why do you feel we lazy instead of just buzzy like any other people on the planet? Or busy on, no, we lazy. Busy is an excuse. Busy is an excuse. We are lazy. If I don't meditate, it's not because I'm too busy. I was lazy. Lazy is the same as unprioritized. Yeah, my word is lazy. Christianity is for lazy people. They don't have to do any research. Yeah, it's the lower level of spirituality because it's for lazy people who don't want to do any research. Yeah. Yes, I'm the son. Why conscious folks be so aggressive? Right. It's like why vegetarians be so aggressive. Astrology is all up in the Bible. You need my address, 1422 Central Villa Drive. For sure. Who else want to send me something? I'm going to inbox to my cousins because I don't want y'all to think. If anybody wants my email address, my physical address, Bass, I'll send it to you when I get off of here. We are sons of God. Yeah, lazy. Lazy, brainwash, and listen, no. Lazy and unprioritized is a dangerous combination by itself before you even come in with the brainwashing. It's a bunch of conscious people who don't believe in Jesus, who have lost their religion, who are still lazy and unprioritized. They get everything, they're Phil Valentine and Bobby Hemmett-ites, Sabeites, and do no further research on their own. Right. Altar is in bad shape. Don't want to spend no money in learning to get their game up, their spiritual game up. Nah, man. But that's before the brainwashing. And lazy and not prioritizing leaves the brain dirty. They're not brainwashed, they're brain dirty. Right. You ain't brainwashed, you're brain dirty. You need a brainwashing. Yeah. Yeah, they're not. Brainwashing ain't the problem. It's lazy and lack of priorities. So what about people with PhDs Those people are prioritized and hard workers. I love them. I would rather have a team of PhDs around me than a team of conscious people, because I could easily awaken the consciousness of a person with a PhD versus trying to get a conscious person to go back to school and get a PhD. Go to a person who has a PhD and talk to them about, no. This is going to be a new video. Consciousness or PhD. Thank you so much. No. I'll be right back on that one right there. Would you rather have a PhD or be conscious? Because if I got a PhD, I can wake up my consciousness because I'm already disciplined. But if I'm just conscious and you tell me to go back to school and get a PhD, look at the argument that you get. Look at the argument that you get when you try to tell a conscious person to go back and get a PhD. It's just a piece of paper. I don't need that. And you said, let me borrow $1,000. I ain't got $1,000. Why you want to borrow $1,000? A person with a PhD has $1,000 in expendable income to share or donate. And the church is full of people who got PhDs. Because the church is very smart and crafty. Conscious people aren't that really. Conscious people who don't expand aren't that smart. Yeah. The church is for lazy people, and now consciousness has been made for lazy people too. That's why I don't even really want to even. That's why I don't even really associate myself with conscious people. I'm enlightened. I'm honest and enlightened. No, why are you talking about who runs the churches? To me, there's nothing wrong with the church. There's something wrong with the person who thinks there's something wrong with the church. Those people chose to be in there. They've got discipline. What are you doing? What does complaining about the church do to free anybody else? Oh, this is who runs the church. This is what the church does. You ain't freeing nobody up. I don't ever talk about this was an interview she asked me about the church. They're just easy and jokes to me, but I don't need to talk about the church. I talk about freedom, money, sex, love, abundance, and wisdom. That's my platform. You see what I'm saying? I don't have to talk about them. Yeah. Right. 9 broke and you the 10th one. That's the conscious folks. So yeah, I love people with money. Where's my wallet? Where's my wallet? Stay right there. Where my affirmations at? That smells good. Keep burning, baby. Here's my wallet. Open up my wallet and look in here. I'm opening up my wallet and attitudes of wealth, winning the money game. Yeah. You want to see something? Let's see this right here. Attitudes of wealth, winning the money game. I am an excellent money manager. I always pay myself first. I put money into my financial freedom account every day. My money works hard for me and makes me more money. I earn enough passive income to pay for my desired lifestyle. I am financially free. I work because I choose to, not because I have to. My part-time business is managing and investing my money and creating passive income streams. But I like this side better. Attitudes. I create my life. I create the exact amount of my financial success. I play the money game to win. My intention is to create wealth and abundance. Number 3, I admire and model rich and successful people, even if they're in the church. That's my favorite one. I believe money is important, money is freedom, and money makes life more enjoyable. I get rich doing what I love. I deserve to be rich because I add value to other people's lives. I am a generous giver and an excellent receiver. I am truly grateful for all the money I have now. Lucrative opportunities always come my way. My capacity to earn, hold, and grow money expands day by day. Bam! That's me. That's what my life is about right there. I don't know what your life is about, but for me, Yeah, man, I don't got time to be complaining about what cats are doing in the church. Carolyn, what's up, baby? Millionaire Mindset class. San Diego, June 23rd. Bet. Show me that money. Angel, you know how we do. Show me that money. Everybody got their own spiritual path. Not compromising, just not complaining, just an observation. Okay, just checking. All right, I got to go because I got to make phone calls and I got a client calling in at 4. Also, I want to give out my coaching number. So right now, I have a line that you can call if you just want to do 5 minutes or 10 minutes with Coach. And I'm looking for some people who want to call me today, all right, and get some coaching in. But it's 99 cents a minute. Yes. Y'all, a lot of y'all asked me about the job that I got the other day. So if you're at the end of this, I'm going to give you the number so you can, if you desire, you can give me a call because you want to get some coaching. Yeah, because people are always in my inbox, right? So now if you want 5 minutes of astrology, then it's just $5. But it's going to go up. But right now, it's just you'll be charged $1 a minute. You see what I'm saying? Yes, very dope. So here's the number. It's a 678 number. 678-203. 678-203-9844. And you can call up to 9 o'clock. That's the number. It's 99 cents a minute. I don't care if it's business, relationships, you want to talk about the church, you want to talk about spirituality development, whatever it is. I got it. I'm an expert, but my time is very valuable. And a lot of people don't realize how valuable their time is. So if you want, all you got to do, you're going to call that number. I'm going to get a text. I'm going to come on the line. We're going to chop it up. Write down 3 questions you want to ask first. That's what I always say. Do you have 3 questions? Write down 3 questions first, all right? And if I don't pick up in like 5 or 6 minutes, that means I'm on the line with somebody else. And then you might want to call back in, okay? Because you can't get in until I click you in. So if you don't get in immediately, it's because I'm already on the line with someone, all right? Yes, that's the number right there. And Gabrielle, I need a flyer here too. All right, getting ready to go. I love y'all. Thanks everybody for sharing. Anna Bakor, Gijala, Kiminka, Tatia Tezara, Kabir Renat, Amcha Sagvanu, Jahara Nunara, Nagibor, the Shea Kadeka, Kababa Shaman, Barkam Tarum, Rakame, the Zika Taker, Tamid Gammon, Kasim Kadosh, Badaru Tufka, Nahel Avateka, the Key Gahela, Amcha Paneza, Kriya Katushka Taker, Shivatanu Kabeo, Ushma Tazaktanu, Yadea Talamo, Baruch Shem, Kavo Makuto, Alam Vaye. Peace to the family.